So let's do one more video on text mining before we come back to text in terms of natural language processing as we get into our machine learning models. But right now, as we're just simply trying to describe our text and do some exploratory data analysis, let's look at one more tool related to that, and that is the creation of word trees. So the idea with word trees is to look at the words that are nearby a particular word. In our last video, what we saw in the survey, I'm just going to go back a little bit here. What we had done is we had pulled in our data set from our union bargaining, our clean data set that had its text still in it. It was not coded, it was still, but it was cleaned. And we identified that question 16 was text, an open-ended question, and we had converted that to a string. And then we had used our function here, has keyword, which went through all the responses in that survey question and looked for a particular keyword. And in this case, the keyword that we were looking for was the keyword flexibility. And we were able to pull all of the different responses that mentioned flexibility. We found there was no difference between part-time and full-time in terms of their discussion of flexibility. What we can do is create a word tree that shows what other words surround flexibility. So we can create a visualization of essentially this word search. So to do that, we're going to need a package called word tree. It's not already in Python, so you will need to install it. So we'll run our pip install word tree. And just a reminder while that's running, if you want to work in this workbook, it is drstephpowers.github.io/BIA. We're here in text mining. You will also find when you click there the access to the Excel spreadsheet that we're working on, that bargain clean. Save that to your Google Drive, and then when you go into Google Colab with this Python workbook here, you can set it to pull from that. So install our word tree. We're going to import our word tree. And then we are going to do a command called search and draw. And we need to define what the corpus is. So what is the data source? The data source here is going to be our data frame question 16. We didn't have to tokenize this because, again, as a survey, we have each row as a different respondent. So we don't have to do a sentence tokenization for this. And then we're looking for the keyword here, flexibility. So word tree command is search and draw. We define that we're pulling from question 16 in the survey. The keyword is flexibility. When you run this and you just output it here, what it shows you is this keyword flexibility. Here's what appears before it in the comments in this open-ended question. We want childcare or provide more of flexibility. We want increased flexibility. We want more hours and flexibility. We'd appreciate the flexibility, greater flexibility. Greater flexibility for working from home to work nights. So notice if we had, instead of having to read through the responses to see that the gist was they want flexibility as to where they work and they want flexibility as to what time they work, if we instead create this word tree, very quickly we can see that that's what they're talking about with flexibility. So it's a way to create a visual to represent that. Got one more here. All right. So what if instead we had our text? So this one, the previous one was from the survey, but what if we had that text that we've been working with, which is we had a document from the Canadian government about generative AI. To do this with a document, you have pulled the information from the document, you have cleaned it in terms of getting rid of all the weird symbols, and then your third step is to tokenize based on sentence. So you tokenize based on sentence. Once you have that, you can then build your word tree. So this AI can sentence is actually that tokenization from sentence. So bear with me here. Scrape the PDF, AI can 1. Okay. Then we pre-processed and removed all these weird symbols that you saw here. And so the new version looks like text. We then, come on. We then used, come on. We then did from nltk.tokenize, we imported sent tokenizer, and here we removed the periods after we tokenized the sentences and turned it all into lowercase. So this function here and this package turned it into this AI can underscore sentence. Now we are tokenized by sentence. And so in our previous video, we were doing a word search by that, by those tokenized sentences. Maybe we saw the word privacy pop up a bunch in a word cloud. So we did a word search to see what the comments were about privacy. Rather than just doing the word search about privacy and having to read through all these different sentences that use the word privacy, instead we could do this word tree, search and draw. The corpus here is our tokenized AI can document that has been sentence tokenized. Keyword we're looking for here is privacy. When we do that, what we get is use of privacy, rights of privacy, policy about privacy, preserve privacy, federal institutions privacy, digital privacy, making sure we incorporate privacy. We can look on the other side of the word privacy and we get, we need privacy preserving techniques, privacy implementation, impact, breach. So you see that there's concerns with privacy and security, and we need to make sure that we have preserved and implemented procedures that protect the rights of people to privacy. So the word tree helps us kind of see what are people saying about privacy without having to read through even the word search itself.